talk about your team of bakers that you pick. You said from government schools and you wanted women, completely women oriented. This is something that when I heard, I really liked because if women don't empower women, who would? And the faith and trust that you have with them, because they are coming from a space where maybe most of them don't even have an exposure to all of this. How do you first, what is it that you need to work on first? Their mindset, their passion towards something that you're passionate about. How do you make sure that they give in at least maximum of what they can? How do you develop that interest in them into this space?
Um, I'm still learning. Every day, every experience is new. Because we've been raised in different ways. We come from different backgrounds. Many things that we take for granted should not be taken for granted. Things like using a microwave. We've grown up using a microwave. But we can't take for granted that they understand what a plastic plate is, glass plate is, steel plate is. This should not go into the microwave. So I'm also understanding how to set those processes from the beginning to tell them. But there is a when they come, they're only coming because they want a job. They're not coming because they're passionate about baking. And so, to inculcate that passion, we talk a lot about the girls who've been with us for a long time. There is one person, she's been with us for 4 years, and she came from nothing, no knowledge about this background, studied only till about 10th, 11th standard. But now she runs the kitchen. She trains the girls who come, and we are hoping that they can see themselves there, that 4 years later, if you were doing an alternate job, if you were working in a supermarket or an agarbatti factory, you don't see your career path that way. You're treated as a replaceable resource. But here, you're groomed in a way that you can see that, hey, I can run this kitchen 2 3 years later if I work hard, and I can make that much money. Today she is the highest earning member of her family. So we hope that with the dreams that we have for the business, we create dreams in their minds as well.
Wow. Dreams from the business, dreams in their minds. And when you're talking about this transition, you said the one who's earning the most in her family has been with you for the last 4 years. When did you formally make Dream a Dozen a business? 4 years back?
5 years back.
5 years back.
5 years ago, for the first 8 months or so, I did everything myself. I baked everything from my parents' kitchen, and then moved the business out of home into a commercial space. And it was when I moved, she was the first employee, and she had come for housekeeping. And I just realized that she's very smart and she's very energetic. So started teaching her little, and now she's come very far.
Okay, so one question here. Since you deal with women from that community, when you're talking to women and you take them into employment, there are many things you come from a privileged background, you've taken for granted, and they haven't. So there are many things you know about life and how to use all of it. What have been your lessons from them?
I think just the fact that this is, we can't take it for granted. There was there was no electricity in the entire colony, and we were all just looking out the window, and it was late. We were hoping to go home, and it was raining, and the only our place had electricity. And so one of them said, "Didi, how come we have electricity?" And I said, "What do you mean? We have the generator." And then I realized she doesn't know what I mean. She doesn't know the concept of a generator. And so all of these small, and they happen every day we realize we cannot take all these luxuries for granted. And given that we've been raised in privilege, we are healthy, we don't have to worry about a roof on our head or food on our plate, all of that leads to believe that it is our duty, it's our responsibility to work hard. And if we are not working hard and creating something or building something, then what's the point of being given so many things? So that, I mean, it reminds me every day that I have to do it. There's a responsibility on my shoulder.
Okay. And then as you started moving in business, 5 years back means you were in 2018 that you
Yes.
started the business.
Yeah.
And at that time alone, then you moved in and a team slowly started evolving around the business. So, first, before we get there, the name, the secret or the journey behind that name, Dream a Dozen, where did that evolve? How did you arrive at a name like that?
Uh, I wish I had a nice
A
story for
story.
it, but I
Maybe time to
don't.
do one.
I honestly, like, we tried. I struggled for names for 2 months before we started. We were thinking butter this, chocolate this, spoon this, 101 different things. But I was very clear before we started that whatever it is, it has to have a trademark. So that was one of the very big criteria to say that this cannot have been already taken. And second, I like the word dream. I do believe in the power of dreaming big, and this just kind of suited that whole belief.
Okay, so like a baker's dozen, your dozen has 13, not 12.
Uh, I don't know. I haven't given it much thought. Yeah.
Okay, no, because when I saw the name, that was the first thing that struck me. So, a
Yeah.
baker's dozen is not 12. So, I
Yeah.
was like, okay, wait
So,
a
yeah,
minute.
actually, everything we make is eggless. And I
Okay.
realized only a few months after I started the business that some people are associating dozen with eggs.
Hmm.
So it was a little contrary, but I said, okay, it doesn't matter. The biggest businesses, the name doesn't matter. It just depends how good of a work you do. So
Yeah, yeah, true, true. And so you just said that most of it is eggless. So you have a large amount of clientele to keep you in on the profit side. A lot of people now prefer.
everything is eggless.
Oh,
100%. Yes.
oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
And the ones, have your customers kind of surprised you by asking for eggless this and that from a group of youngsters who normally don't care about what goes into their system?
So there there are a couple of things because it's fully eggless. The families who prefer 100% eggless, they don't have any ounce of doubt that there can be a mix up. So the loyalty becomes much more for, because they know that there's absolutely no chance, and there are certain communities who prefer that. And then nowadays there's the whole talk of veganism, plant-based, cruelty-free, and it's helping us there as well because we can very easily make vegan items. Of course, ours have butter, but we have a vegan menu as well. So from both perspective, it has helped the business.
So this was not something that you thought about in 2018 when you set out. You were only looking at a small niche community which doesn't like egg in their cakes or baked items, or did you have an idea that you will have a definite clientele?
So I was forced to do this many years ago when I was first started baking because my father did not allow egg in the house.
Oh,
So any baking that I did, I had to find an eggless recipe for it. Even the baking workshop that I went to, I would make eggless version, then go back to her house and say, "Auntie, is this okay?" So in that front, I didn't have a choice. But when I moved the business out of home, I did have a choice. Um, but we found so many people saying we didn't even realize it doesn't have egg because there are many people don't eat cakes to eat egg. Otherwise, they would eat like an egg puff or an omelette. They just eat cakes to have something sweet to celebrate an occasion. And if you get good enough texture, good enough taste, then you're catering to the folks who have egg also.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so true. That's very true. And thinking back on, does this make your bakery a kind of a different standalone bakery in comparison to those around you? Because most bakeries use egg, right?
Yes.
So since you give only eggless, does this make it a standalone in comparison? So do you have too much of competition in this space?
I know bakeries that are fully vegan now that have come up recently. I know bakeries that do both, but I actually don't know anybody who does 100% eggless on the commercial scale. I know home bakers, but not ones who can give the kind of volume and convenience in terms of immediate, very fast turnaround time as we do. So that has worked for us, and my father is very proud of it.
He should be. And talking about your team today, who all does your team comprise and how many people are there totally in
So in total, we're 18 people.
18?
Um,
Okay.
we have about half of the team, I would say, are related to the kitchen. So kitchen, housekeeping, delivery. And then there's a section of the team that is marketing. So we had a choice to kind of move to an agency for marketing, but because uh, we don't have a shop, we have an online bakery, and because it's all online, the photographs, the videography, all of that is very important and very important to be real time, so we didn't want to outsource it. So we have a few people in marketing, including part-time interns, freelancers, plus one full-time. And then there is a person in business development who's helping us get our corporate clientele.